start with the live stream. So lesson learned, if you're doing a live stream, don't put the computer to sleep and restart immediately before the live stream. Man, thanks guys. Okay, I'm here. Now, of course, everything that I had prepared, all the images and all the websites I wanted to have open are closed now, so I need to work on opening this on the side. I hope you had a great weekend and a great start of the week. I don't know if you have seen it. Let me quickly show this to you here. It's actually the wrong one here. Have you seen the podcast? We've been putting out 2 podcasts this week. So there's one podcast that is about where I talked about data tools and platforms. So this topic here, and I'm going to quickly show this to you because most of you haven't seen this. It says only 22 opens here and a few on the podcast, but not a lot. So I think on average this has 100 views together. So the idea, what I was talking about, and I wanted to talk with you about this, is if you want to have the full thing, quickly look at the podcast. But the thing that I was talking about is, like, you might know I'm a Lego nut. I love building Legos, not just from Lego, but also from other companies. But this build reminded me of being a data engineer, working with data engineering tools, because like this is a model that looks very nice from the outside. And this is a very good analogy to everything that we have to endure with data engineering, right? But once you open this thing up here, right, you see then there's a scaffolding inside here, nothing really in it, right? And this reminded me of a lot of data tools that from the outside everything looks always nice. But once you open it up, once you try it out, once you try to create a use case with it, then you're running into these topics. So more about that, again, check out the podcast that I've done. It's very short, 4 minutes, 50 seconds. And also this Monday, we put one out, a hero talk with Ian. That's very nice. It was a really cool talk with him about how he made the transition from a civil engineer to data engineer in the US I'm looking here, for Toyota. So that's something that was very, very interesting. Then let's talk about today's topic. Has anybody seen or heard one of these podcasts? Put one in the chat here. That would be interesting. So today the main topic that I wanted to do is GenAI platform architectures, because like for me, data architecture or platform architecture is the most interesting part. I love building solutions, and I'm always interested in seeing what are people doing. And I don't know if you have seen this, but I record these kind of React videos for my Andreas Kretz channel. /@ Andreas K here. So basically for this channel, I'm doing these React videos where I react to platform architectures, also some quick explanation videos. But I really like these, and I want to talk with you a bit today about these kind of topics, show you around, hear what you think. And this is mostly of AWS, because I'm reacting about the AWS architectures or AWS my architecture videos. So yeah, I think this is very cool. Yeah. So should we dive into the platform architecture? Anybody have questions about platform architecture? Who has experience with this kind of topic? Let's quickly chat about this while I open up another thing here. I will try to find the images. I had everything open. Oh, sorry. I had everything open already, but restarting this didn't help. Where is it? Save pictures now. Live streams today. Okay, here are the images. Okay. Now the videos to that. Let me see. Well, the data architecture or data platform architecture, that's always a thing. It's not 100% clear defined, right? Sometimes people talk about data architecture and think of the whole thing. Sometimes they talk about platform architecture and also think about the whole thing or the detail. But the main thing is, so I would say when you talk about data architecture is something that describes how are you going to basically format the data. So, or define the data. What's the data format? Exactly, like, or which data is in the data stored? How's the format of the data? How fast is this data coming? Or how are you sending this out? Are you sending this out every minute, every 10 minutes? Over which paths? Or are you making this available as an API? Or are you sending this somewhere? And I would say these are the fundamental things of data architecture. So anything straightly or directly considered with the data. Platform architecture is more the whole thing. Like, okay, which tools do you use to process your data and which pipelines are you creating on this platform to take the data in, to stream it, to process it, to store it, to visualize it. That's more of the platform architecture side, and the data architecture side is usually the very fine-grained works of defining your data. Right. So there were a few things that I really found interesting. So one, let me get into the actual platform stuff. And we can talk about this here. So here's one thing of a company that I saw and found very interesting on the AWS My Architecture videos. That is here. That's a platform. Basically, this is something where they build platforms for companies, for customers, GenAI platforms. And it's the idea with what they said is to give you a sort of ChatGPT experience just without ChatGPT, right? Running a custom or for a customer, a GenAI or a chatbot, right? Why are people doing this? People do this because they don't want to use the OpenAI models. They don't want to send their data to OpenAI. They much rather have their own infrastructure set up so that all the data that gets sent there, all the communication, all the history of the chats is stayed or is stored within their platform. That is something that people, because like most of the stuff is a company's IP, and they don't want to share their secrets with other people, right? So that's one of the things. And I found this here very interesting. Basically, how they built this up was that here on the left, this is where they have the UI. Right? This is where you can actually interact with your data and send here over the API gateway, basically requests to the platform. And this goes into a Lambda function. And this Lambda function then calls Amazon Bedrock, which is actually the GenAI service that they have, and then answers the questions. Now they have, what they didn't show is that this can actually access Elasticsearch and can basically look into the repository or the catalog of your data. Right? So this is how you fill or how you give the AI its knowledge. It's basically this RAG, retrieval augmented generation, where you say, okay, I'm having my files here, my company files, you drop them into the AWS bucket, and through a Lambda function, this gets tokenized and gets sent into Elasticsearch, so that there's a knowledge repository here for the company. And also this is where also the Lambda function can look into. So this is the knowledge repo here. This is the GenAI algorithm. This is where they transcribe the data or tokenize the data so that you can use it. And this with DynamoDB, basically a document store here, right? This is where they store your chats. Basically the I/O of your chats, and everything that you have sent and everything that the algorithm gave back. And the Lambda can solve also this with information from Elasticsearch. But as I understand, also this path here is a path that gets used. And I found this very interesting. I don't know what you think. Let me know in the comments what you think. You're awfully quiet. Like, what do you think about this? Have you looked into something like this? I found this very interesting. And also it's basically serverless, right? They use here, this is serverless, this is serverless, this is serverless, API gateway is serverless, Lambda is serverless. Everything is basically a serverless architecture. And if you have a different client, you can just spin this whole thing up and have this working. And then the client can build their UI here, or their apps to use the API gateway and chat with the actual algorithm. Oh, what do you think? I'm waiting. Guys, is this interesting? Is this something that is surprising how they built this? Did I just delete it? Oh shit, I just deleted everything that I wrote. Maybe a trivial query, but can you share the impact of pull versus push requests on this data flow diagram? So the push versus pull. So this is most of the time you have to think of it like this. Can I make this, by the way, can I make this bigger here? No, I can't. So you have to think of it like this. This here is a complete, the whole part with the transcription here, or with the tokenization, or sending data into your knowledge base. This is a complete push operation, right? You push the data into S3. This automatically, this triggers a Lambda function. So it's a event-based system, and then the Lambda function takes the data from here, read, and then writes the data here into this, right? So this is a push. And you want to have this push because, like, make this event-based, then you don't have to schedule all of this, and there's no way of actually data piling up here, and you can never process it, right? So that's a good way of doing this. Then this here, the lower part, this is more of a pool part, because your user that is sitting here on the UI, or your app, that is going to request data here. And even if we say here, this is just a chat function, this is a chatbot, you're requesting data from the API. You're sending your request, you're sending your text into the Lambda, and the Lambda then triggers Bedrock to actually retrieve results and to give you an answer to your problem. So this is a complete pull function here, or pull system. Now you could, as I said, you could say this we just push, but then here we schedule this on it on a base timer, but this is not a good thing. JDeep, does this answer your question? One follow-up? Yes, put the follow-up in. By the way, anybody else, if you have a question regarding this, put it in the chat. No matter how beginner it is, no matter how simple or difficult it is, doesn't matter. Let's just chat about this, because I find this a very interesting setup, and I would have thought about this, or I would have tried to build it like this, but the only thing that I was missing here was the DynamoDB part. Actually, to store your chats in DynamoDB. I think this is, of course, you could also use here Postgres, for instance, or MongoDB, right? This would not really make a big difference here. So that is something that you could change. OpenSearch, I think this is Elasticsearch based. Elk. Yeah. JD, come on, what's your follow-up? Sure, the chatbots rely on historical data to enrich their model and be more accurate. I am not able to figure out a scenario where there will be API triggered to real-time inputs from the web. Well, it's here, basically. This is the lower part here. You're making from your web UI, from your app, you're making a request to the API. The API is triggering the Lambda function with your question, right? Here's your question. And then this is going to then go to Bedrock, which is the GenAI. Let me write this again. GenAI part. And here, this then has the model and has the data in Elasticsearch to actually look up and to answer your question. Right? So this is the historical data here. Historical. Basically, let's call this historical knowledge base. Here. And this is all triggered by the API. The API Lambda function will answer, and then the result will go back here this way, and we'll get to you. I think this is a very interesting setup that we could do, or that you could do. And because I was looking for something for a course, just to set this up, I think that's basically how they do this. They have these templates, and they just use infrastructure as code template to actually spin up the whole thing for the clients. Of course, there is always more in the background, right? There's more than meets the eye, and they're always, when they do these overviews, they're always omitting a lot of important stuff, right? But generally, this is how this works. All right, let's look at more here. What else do we have? I had another one here. Come on, go left to right. Of course, now it's getting bigger. One sec. Another one was this here with the job search engine. This was where they will. Oh, now I need to try to figure this out again. What was that? They were. Okay, Sandeep had another question here. What was the role of S3 and DynamoDB in the other example? So in the other example, the role of S3 here was to actually be the temporary storage, the input where you can drop your files in, where you can do your PDFs and so on, put this in, or your documents, and this then puts it into Elasticsearch. And the DynamoDB, that was for storing your chats, for storing your chat history. Any linear algebra required to understand this from an engineer's perspective? No, absolutely not. This is absolutely not required. Yeah. This actually I don't remember fully, I have to admit. What was this? Basically, what they were doing in this, they had the knowledge base. I think it was in this. It was the way that data. This was a job search platform, so there were jobs coming in. Oops, that's the wrong. I don't want to do this. I want to use this brush. So basically, job documents here were coming in here. Jobs, they were put into S3, and then they used Bedrock. They used a NLP, no, not NLP, a GenAI algorithm actually to extract the data and put this here into Elasticsearch. Right. Same thing that we saw with the other video. This is the knowledge base here. And from that, they were extracting six They were, no. That was the knowledge base. Here was the user. The user was inputting the data in a front end that is hosted as a container here. And actually through GenAI, they were extracting the data from these applications and putting it into Elasticsearch. And then with Bedrock, they were I don't remember the actual interval. They were then extracting basically 6 job ad fits for people out of Elasticsearch, and then sending these back to the user. It's pretty cool as well. In this, the other here, Sehan asks, what would be the partition key for DynamoDB? In the other example, most likely the partition key for DynamoDB would be your user ID, right? Because you have indefinite columns, let's say columns or documents in DynamoDB. So your partition key, was that the part? I think the key for the row wasn't the key for the row. Oh man. Let me get to it. It's been a while since I used DynamoDB. Partition key explained. Simple primary key. Yeah. So as the primary key, of course, you would use the user's ID, and then what you would do is you would have here. You would have basically, when you look at it in this way, this is the user ID, right? This is a partition key, and then in these here in the columns for each one of these, or for every chat, you would most likely have a timestamp here. Timestamp. So this way, it's very easy to actually, and then here you would have a JSON object here. And this way, it would be very easy to get all the chats for a user. Just read the whole row, and then sort this by timestamp, and then put the actual chats in there. So it's not really a big deal, I think. Yeah, and again, in this, I don't fully remember what the SQL database here was. I think that was for storage of CVs, because they were basically extracting from this. This here is an extract. This here is extract from the CV, and then they were writing the extract into SQL. I think they omitted a part here that actually then returns the 6 relevant jobs for the user. They didn't really focus on this here. But again, this is just without the API. This is with the user interface. It's the same thing. You have your chat, or in this case, you have your CV. This CV, this extracts actually the text. Extract text, and this gets then stored, most likely also put into the knowledge base, and then Bedrock is actually used to query the data, or to sift through the data stored in Elasticsearch to then return you the fits. This MySQL. But here needs, what I was saying here, this Here needs to be some kind of a process to actually trigger this whole thing here, right? Because now the data gets extracted, gets put in here. This is like, there needs to be something that controls this step here, this, and needs to do actually this writing back to the user. This needs to be somehow triggered here, right? And also needs to get the data from the CSV. So I'm not 100% sure how they do this, but yeah. Are there too many Bedrock instances? Too many Bedrock instances system deep? Do I have this video already online? Because I don't remember. I have this video already online, so look at it. They go through this. I think the idea with this is they had, because these are two different algorithms, right? This is Claude 2 and this is Titan. So I'm not sure, I don't remember fully what these two were here. Again, this is just for extracting the data out of the files. It's very interesting that they do it like this here below. Do it with GenAI and tokenize it into your knowledge base. I think that it's a very cool, very cool solution. Yeah. Something else. What do you think about this? Do you like this? Questions around this? Or should we go back to the first one? We can also go back to the first one. Nothing? Okay. Let me get back to the next. No? This was actually something. No, let's not talk about this one. You're going to see this in the next video. Somehow, I don't know, this is not going as I hoped to, I have to admit. I was hoping that people have more questions around this and not sit around and wait for me to answer all of this, because this is like, I don't want to explain the whole thing again and again and again, because this will literally come out as a video. So let's go back to the first one. Maybe you have questions to the first one, because that was a very general setup, I think. Where is it? This one here. Yeah. So, I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you think this was helpful. I don't think it was super helpful, because like a few people commented on this, but most of you were actually sitting around and not interacting in any way here. So I don't know, maybe we're not going to do this again. But I hope this was helpful. Again, if you want to see this in a shorter format, I have these kind of things on my YouTube channel, so you can watch them here. Again, what we were just talking about, these two are already online. There are others coming online very, very soon. And I also recorded one more this morning, and I'm going to record on Thursday a few more. So we can have fun with this. And again, whenever you look at something and whenever you like something, please hit the like button on the video. Maybe write me a comment. And yeah. Then let's chat next time. I'm going to be back on Thursday. I'm not 100% sure what we're going to do on Thursday. We're going to see what we're doing. And then, yeah, I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a great week. See each other maybe on Thursday. If you have questions in between, just comment under my videos on YouTube, or send me or mention me on Twitter, or comment on a LinkedIn post. And then, yeah, see you later.